again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster, welcoming you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. Well, on tonight's show, we've got two great guests. One's a sports writer that does a great job covering high school football, and we're going to be talking about high school football playoffs and the potential of some teams to make it, not make it, who may be the favorites in certain regions, and just finding out more generally who we think might have a best chance of winning a championship. And we're getting close to the playoffs, just a couple of weeks away now. And also you've got your volleyball players. They're in the same situation. Everybody's jockeying for position because it's all about the playoffs. And here's one thing that maybe a lot of you didn't fully realize, like in our regions, 4 teams can qualify from each region, but of those 4, the top 2 will play their first round games at home. The other 2 will have to travel. And so the teams are always trying to make sure, one, that they can be one of the 4 teams, but 2, if they can, be one of the top 2 teams where they get to play those first round games at home. But we look forward to talking with Josh about that situation, and there's been some surprises in the football season thus far this year, and then there have been some of the teams that have played as well as we thought they would. But we'll cover all that and more, so don't you go away. We'll be right back with our first guest.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. Oh, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back. And in our first segment, we're delighted to have one of the good friends of our show, Josh Bean of AL.com, who covers all the sports, but a lot of football. This is a busy time for you, Josh. Always good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
And we love to get together, especially sometime during football season. Most time we like to do it toward the end because we can talk about some of the outstanding teams that we've had here in the Birmingham-Jefferson area, what kind of playoff they may have, because we've got some good teams this time up here from the Birmingham-Jefferson County area that can make a lot of noise, I think, in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the playoffs, certainly in the biggest schools, you know, we see Hoover, Hewitt-Trussville, Thompson, all 3 of those teams in 7A seem like and are playing like a team that could win a state championship.
And I tell you what, folks, in our second segment with Josh, we're going to concentrate on the bigger teams and the chances we think that they have got to go all the way, if you will, maybe have a state championship waiting on them. But we've got other teams here in the Birmingham, Jefferson County area that we're going to talk about, primarily in the 4 and 5 and 6A classification, but in Class 2A, and you and I touched this a little bit, Josh, right here in the Birmingham area, that Tarrant is playing very well. Eric Johnson, they're 6 and 2, I think.
Yeah, in the smaller classes, Tarrant and Fultondale have played fantastic.
Right.
They played each other in the opener. Fultondale won. It was a pretty big margin, so we really didn't get a sense of how good this Tarrant team could be until they came back and won the next week. Then they won the next week. They ended up winning 6 in a row.
Right.
And so that's a team that it's been a little while since they've enjoyed this kind of success.
Right.
So it's good to see that. It's good to see. That's part of the fun of high school sports is to see programs how they progress, or sometimes you have a little bit of a surprise like this Tarrant team. So they're in the playoffs. We'll see how they'll fare once they get there. But just getting in the playoffs is a clear step in the right direction for that program.
And the other team you were talking about, Fultondale in 3A, they're playing very well.
Yeah, they have 2 super prospects who are underclassmen. Jason Jones, who's their quarterback. He's gets a lot of comparisons to our Darius Stewart, who was an amazing player there before he went to Alabama. He's in the NFL now. And then Jalen Sims is their linebacker, who's also getting some SEC recruiting attention. So you take a small school, you have 2 guys that right now we sort of expect that they're going to end up playing in the SEC somewhere. At a small school, those 2 guys can really make a difference. And then they have a bunch of other good players who have had a lot of success and won a lot of games there, but those 2 guys on their roster really stick out.
And I know when I had Coach Busby on with me a couple of weeks ago, one of the bigger problems that these schools here in the Birmingham area that are in the smaller classifications have to deal with is that travel.
Yeah, it really is. Even for you look at the region that Fultondale plays in, and they have some people that are relatively close to them. People like J.B. Pennington, but the travel does make a difference. It makes a difference with the crowd. But one of the things I think it helps is when you get to the playoffs and you get to that point of the season where you're going to have travel, it's not going to be anything new for them. Right. So I do think that it has the potential to help them down the road. There's no guarantee of that, but you're right. The travel is, you're not going to, it's not going to be like Hoover and Spain Park where they're only a few miles apart.
Right. And then you get into 5A, and of course the team that we would hewn in most around here, Briarwood.
Yeah, and they have played fantastic all year. They came into the season with some high expectations. They made it to the semifinals last year, played a great semifinal game against Winona. So they had some expectations, and they've lived up and maybe really surpassed those expectations. Quarterback's having a record-breaking season for them. Defensively, they've been fantastic. They're able to run the football, and as you get in the playoffs, that's something that's really important. To be able to control the ball, control the clock, control the tempo of the game, running can be really important. So I think in 5A, they've been ranked number 1 for weeks now, so they're the team to beat statewide, I think. But we saw Winona get in the final last year. And that's a team that's defensively had been playing better and better as the season's gone along. Last year, that's what they hung their hat on. They played a really low-scoring game in the semifinals to beat Briarwood last year. So defensively, that's a team that's you're going to have to deal with them. Offensively, they have some struggles, but Carlos Rogers, their quarterback, is a 3-year starter, and he's been able to, he's a dual-threat guy. He can make some plays. But they're probably not going to go out there in a playoff game and win some 44-40 shootout. Right. They're going to hang their hat on that defense that has played extremely well the last few weeks.
So I guess from here in the Birmingham area, would you say maybe Winona and Briarwood might be the 2 that you think?
Yeah, I think certainly in 5A, and we don't know what's going to happen, but you could certainly foresee those 2 teams playing again in the playoffs. If that happens, it would be the 4th time really in the last 2 seasons that they play. They played twice last year, already played once this year. But those are both teams that are trending toward a deep playoff run. Okay, and then we'll get to 6A here as we wind up this segment in our conversation. We got 3 or 4 schools here in 6A that have the talent, I think,
to make some noise. But talk about those. For instance, of course, you're talking about Clay Chalkville and Pinson Valley. Ramsey's playing really well.
And Homewood's still undefeated.
Homewood, absolutely.
And
those
so
four.
all of those four teams, I think, have great potential. Pinson is probably the team that jumps off the page at you. They've found a way to keep winning despite the injury to Bo Nix. But he's going to be back. It's a matter of when he's going to be back, not if he comes back. So, you mentioned Clay Chalkville. That was a 2-point game earlier in the year.
Right,
Clay
exactly.
Chalkville, that was a great game. So Clay Chalkville is right there. They have an experienced quarterback, Willie Miller, who had a good year last year. He's had a better year this year. And then Homewood's still undefeated. A really intriguing team to me in 6A is Hueytown. Early in the year, we looked at them. Jaden Steele, their quarterback, got hurt, and we felt like, wow, maybe they're going to miss the playoffs. But Roydell Williams, their sophomore running back, has been fantastic. And, they have a chance to get in the playoffs now after beating Jackson Olin. If they get in, and the way they can run the ball with Roydell, they could be a really dangerous 4 seed. So I think that there's no guarantee they're going to get in right now.
Right.
They have to beat Homewood, but they do have that opportunity. So there are a bunch of good teams here in the area that have a chance to make a deep run. But I think at least as we begin the playoffs, we're going to look at Pinson Valley as maybe the team with the best chance to get there.
Right. Well, of those teams here in the Birmingham area, though, I think maybe a Pinson Valley, Clay, and Homewood may be the teams that you see fighting to make it deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, and Homewood is such an interesting team. Probably their best player is C.D. Daniels, who plays primarily on defense, but he plays some on offense. I would think that maybe as the season progresses, we may see him play a little bit more on offense.
Well, I tell you what, it looks like we've got some teams in those smaller classifications going to do some damage. We'll talk about the big boys here in a second, and that's intriguing. And folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, and we're looking at 7A, and we've got some very talented teams, great coaches here in the Birmingham area. They should be making some good runs, and we'll talk about that with Josh in just a minute. Don't you go away. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine, orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
Have you had that Mexican food fix yet? If you haven't, then Speedy's is the place to go. Located in Hueytown, 1 block off Warrior River Road on Forest Road, you can call in your order or go through the drive-thru or dine in as our family and friends do on a regular basis. For everything from nachos to enchiladas to taco salads, you can't beat the taste of Speedy's Mexican food. Remember, that's the original Speedy's is back and better than ever. To phone in the order or for more information, the number to call is 744-4659. That's Speedy's Mexican Foods.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And folks, welcome back. In this second segment, as we talked about earlier, remind you, we're talking with Josh Bean, the AL.com, I call him sports writer, especially in the football sense, but covers all the sports. But always good to have Josh with us. We enjoy getting caught up on what they see and what we see as might be some trends when we get to the playoffs here. And of course, 7A is the biggest classification, Josh, and rightly so or not, they garner the most attention. And the reason being that, I guess, but from a numbers situation, you like to think that, and there are exceptions to every rule, that the best athletes probably are in the higher classifications.
Yeah,
You have
and these
more
are the biggest
kids.
schools, so they generally speaking have the biggest rosters. Bigger rosters, you got to have more. You have a chance to have more better players.
And the thing that you and I talked about in the opening a little bit, we've got 3 schools here in the Birmingham area that are very good this year, and then one of them that's in the northern classification due to circumstances that would surprise you, because most people wondered how did that happen.
Yeah, Hewitt, Trussville, Thompson, Hoover are all 3 playing like state championship contenders. Right. We all know that. And so much of, for Hewitt Trussville and for Thompson, so much of it is about those quarterbacks. Thompson has Talia Tagovailoa. It's hard, that didn't really roll off the tongue yet for me, but his brother is the backup quarterback at Alabama. His family moved 4,000 miles to Alabama, and he's been dynamite. He came in with a lot of expectations, a lot of hype, threw for 4,000 yards last year in Hawaii. But you wondered, what kind of transition will he make? How quickly will he pick up Mark Freeman's offense? It's been pretty seamless. He's been probably better than advertised, and of course they play Hoover this week.
Well, let me tell you this. I won't mention the name, but I will say there's a very high-profile coach here in the Birmingham area that I was talking with in the last couple of weeks, and he just frankly told me, he said the best high school quarterback in the Birmingham area this year is at Thompson. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, Coach Bryant's great-grandson is probably, if he's not rewriting the record books there at Hewitt, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, Paul Tyson has had a
week?
great year at Hewitt Trussville. And look, since Josh Floyd has been at Hewitt Trussville, offensively they've been fantastic. And each quarterback that they've had has put up big numbers and has gone on to play in college. But this year, I think they've been maybe a little bit more successful throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. He is a running threat, but maybe not as much as what they've had. So that has changed a little bit of what they do, but they've been so productive offensively. So now they are in that region with the Huntsville schools. So that means, again, if they're going to run into Hoover or they're going to run into Thompson, it's going to be in the playoffs. Right. But all 3 of those teams look like real championship contenders. That Hoover-Thompson game should be amazing at the Hoover Met this week. And, the winner of that, that'll be a feather in their cap. But the truth is, for whoever loses it, it's not the end of the world. Right. They're in the playoffs. They're going to have a home game that first week. Everything they want to accomplish is still out there. But this is for a region championship, And there'll be a little bit more juice, a little bit more pep in the step for those players when they get on the field on Friday.
And you know what? You haven't been witnessing as many years as I have, but with Josh Niblett at Hoover, it's amazing to me what they've been able to do. I think 18 straight years they're making the playoffs now. And the thing about it is they play these powerful out-of-state teams, to their credit. They don't win all of them, but they come back into the state of Alabama, and I mean, they just steamroll the competition.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule this year again was quite difficult. They went to Grayson, Georgia in the opener. And after they play this Thompson game, they're going to play IMG Academy at home. So, they don't dodge anybody.
Right.
They play a difficult schedule. I think they believe in those out-of-state games because, one, it's top-flight competition. But, two, I think it conditions their players to be used to playing on a big stage. So when they get deep in the playoffs, their players are used to that, and they really have learned to thrive under that kind of pressure. So I think in that place it's good. Now, there are some times where, frankly, I wish they would have played some in-state people. A few years ago when Clay Chalkville was so fantastic, it would have been great if those two teams had played. Then they ended up playing in an ESPN doubleheader, back-to-back. But selfishly, just as a fan, it would have been great to see them play. And this year, again, when you look at the schedule and we know what we know now, wouldn't it be great if that Week 10 were against Hewitt-Trussville? And they are, and of course they are playing Thompson. So, sometimes selfishly, I wish we would have some of those games, but to their credit, like I said, they don't dodge anybody.
Last year, I thought for sure I was going to see Hoover and Hewitt. And then Hewitt-Trussville loses in an upset to Gadsden City. And we had been in multiple shows that Friday night. Yeah. I saw an early score in the fourth quarter. It was like 28-14, 27-14, something like that. Anyway, I didn't see another score the rest of the night. So I get home Saturday morning and go and see my daughter and told her, well, we got what we wanted. And she said, what's that? And I said, we got Hewitt and Hoover. And she said, snapper. Hewitt got beat last night. Yeah. I didn't see the last part.
It really was an amazing comeback for Gadsden City last year in that game. But look, a year ago, that was the game. In the playoffs, as the playoffs got going, that's the game that we were all looking for.
Right.
And I think that, to a certain extent, there will be that anticipation again this year. No matter what happens, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of fans, no matter what happens with that Thompson-Hoover game, there's a lot of people who will still be looking forward to a possible Hoover-Hewitt-Trussville matchup.
And it could either be right now I see it either being Hewitt or Thompson against
Hewitt
right. in order to go further deeper into the playoffs.
And so, and you have to wonder last year if those Hewitt players got caught up in that, if they felt like, hey, and you don't want to say you ever totally overlook somebody, but maybe they minimized the threat that Gadsden City had, and they were looking ahead a little bit to that Hoover game. So we didn't get a chance to see that last year, but those are three teams that have a great opportunity. And when you look in the southern half of the bracket, it seems like it's McGill and Central Phoenix City, which that's what it was last year, and it's hard to believe, but we talk about the success that Hoover's had, but when you look to the south, McGill's been in the championship game the last 2 years, and they're playing like a team that wants to get there for a third one.
Well, I tell you what, I know we don't have much time left in this segment. One thing I want you to do very quickly, if you can, because we don't want to leave the girls out. Is there any volleyball teams up here that you think have a chance to maybe bring home a championship?
Next week we have the state tournament here in town, and I think there are some really good teams. Hoover's been fantastic the last few years. Oak Mountain has played exceptionally well this year. I think those are two teams that really have a great chance. And then we'll see. That's the great thing about the volleyball format is that you can struggle a little bit for much of the season, but when you get to the end of the season, get out of your area tournament, play well in the regional tournament, get to the state tournament. That's all in a relatively short period of time of about 8 or 10 days. So if you can catch lightning in a bottle a little bit, you can win a championship.
Well, you know, very quickly as we close this out, Josh, I've had some of those volleyball coaches tell me the same thing we talk about with football coaches. They want their kids to peak
That's
as
right.
you get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to peak at the end of September. You want to be peaking right here at the end of October. So it'll be fun to see which of those teams can get on a hot streak and ride it out to a state championship. And of course, you know, I'd be remiss in volleyball if we didn't mention Mountain Brook. Remember,
Right.
that's the school that's won the last two 7A championships, so there's big expectations to see them get back.
Well, I tell you what, once again, awfully good to have you visit
Thank you
with
for
us.
having
I look
me.
forward to it because it's always fun to talk about the teams here in the Birmingham, Jefferson County area that are hopefully going to be making some noise.
That's
Look
right.
forward to the next time. And folks, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, a high school coach and 4 of his athletes that are having a pretty good season. So stick around. We'll be right back after this message. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back. As we talked about earlier in the pregame show, we had an outstanding football coach and Tom Causey of the Pelham Panthers. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And as we get into our conversation, first of all, before we start talking about you and your team, tell people that might be watching you for the first time a little bit about your background and how you ended up being at Pelham High School.
Well, I started out at University of West Alabama as a graduate assistant there in the early 90s. Moved on to full-time there and left there. And fall of 99, took an assistant coaching job at Daleville for 1 year. Was head coach at Dallas County High School for 3 years. Left there and went to Andalusia, was there for 4 years. Left there and went to Demopolis, was there for 8 years, now in our 3rd season at Pelham.
Wow, well, you've got a lot of schools behind you. Let me ask you this, going into this season, and now you ought to be getting, as the old saying goes, comfortable there at Pelham. And your coaching staff, is this your staff that you've got with you this year? Has this been one that you've built, or has everybody been there together for how long?
We have three new coaches this year, 4 new coaches this year, and we've been blessed to have assistant coaches throughout my time as a head coach, get head coaching jobs, or go as an assistant and becoming a coordinator somewhere. So we replaced 4 guys this year, and I think honestly it couldn't have been better fits. The guys that have come in with us this year have really been what we needed at the time at Pelham, and our guys that were there, the players we have now have been there with us for 3 years, and it feels like home. I don't know if you ever get comfortable as a coach.
Right.
You know, your job's on the line each and every day, but it feels more like home now than it ever has, and it feels more like a family now than it's ever felt.
Well, going into this year, tell us about this year's team, offensive side, defense, and specialty teams.
Well, we were talking on the way over. Our guys are a gritty group of players. They play hard. We've got some talented football players, don't get me wrong, but I think the backbone of our team is how hard they play. And I think that's a commitment that they've made to each other, not necessarily to me or their coaches or Pelham. It's a commitment they've made to each other. Offensively, we've been up and down. When we're up pretty good. When we're down, we've had too many turnovers this year. We're winning the turnover battle throughout the season. I think we're +6 for the year, which has been a major improvement from the first 2 years. But we've given up too many points on our offense this season, which kind of skews the numbers on our defensive side of the football. And we've played. This will be our 6th top 10 team we've played this week for the season. And you turn the ball over against teams like that, and you do have 7-point losses to Homewood or Benjamin Russell, or lose to Thompson or Wetumpka. And our defense has gotten steadily better all year long. They've gone out at times and played against some of the top offenses in the state. You know, I thought they played about as good as they could play against Thompson, who's just scoring points in bunches. We held them to less than 200 yards passing, and actually forced a pick, and kept our offense on the field in the first half with really good defense. Special teams, Greg Blue's done our punting and our kicking for us this year, and has been really a weapon on kickoff, giving us a chance to get onside kicks. We spray the ball all over the field, and he's done a good job for us in field goals. Out at Chelsea, we win the ball game 36-23, and then he had 2 huge field goals in the second half of that game, 40-plus yards, 42, 45 yards, and so it's finally come together. I tell you what, in games this year, when our defense was down, our offense picked them up. When our offense was down, our defense picked them up. When we were both down, somebody might have played in special teams to get us back in the game. And I think that's a credit to our players and our coaches. I really do. They believe in each other, and they truly are a family. They're brothers. They're a group of brothers that plays in there and play hard for each other. And when you see that and you feel that, it's a feeling you don't ever want to let go of. When these guys go out into the real world, they'll search for that feeling. That's why I do what I do. And they'll create that in whatever business organization they're in, and that business organization will be successful.
Well, you know, Coach, it's it tickled me to hear what you just did say, because I share this with folks all the time. You coaches do 2 things. One, you take these athletes and you make them the best athlete in the sport they love to play that they can possibly be, number 1. Number 2, and probably more important than number 1, you help prepare these young athletes as well as other students for life after high school.
Our guys at Pelham High School have made that easy. They're a mature group of guys that, I don't worry about turning my back on them too much. And they're leaders in our school, and they're leaders in our community. I'm proud to say that when they walk down the halls, there's a difference. And they're changing the culture in our hallways. And that's not a me thing. That's not a teacher thing. That's those guys that walk down the halls that their standards and their expectations for their classmates in their school have changed. And our guys are holding each other and other students in that school to a higher standard.
And I tell you what, probably the leaders of that are the seniors on your team.
Absolutely.
And I talk to coaches and kids about that, especially when I'm talking to the young athletes. You don't realize, and I'll say you seniors, you don't realize how much a coach leans on you, because sometimes, you know this as well as I do, sometimes chemistry is such an important thing on a football team, and sometimes some players want to step out of line, and it's amazing how sometimes they can take a load off you by taking care of a problem within themselves.
They do it much better than we do. Peer pressure is the most powerful thing on the planet, positive or negative, and when your leaders are out there making sure that your program's being run the right way, that's a positive peer pressure, and our guys do a good job of that. And they hold each other accountable. And, our guys, our seniors, we've talked about since they were sophomores about what kind of legacy they were going to leave. And each one of them, when I've asked them that in front of the team and one-on-one, talks about leaving a legacy of changing the program, of turning it around, of being the group that set that standard higher. And I think that's important to them, whether they walk around and talk about that or not. I think that's important to our seniors right now, is to leave a legacy of higher standards.
Let me ask you a curiosity question, and it has to do with numbers. And you mentioned Thompson a minute ago. You guys 6A, Thompson 7A. Are y'all, as y'all student population, picking up enough? Do you think one day y'all might edge up into 7A?
No. I don't think we'll ever go 5A. But after the split, our first reclassification since I've been here, I think we were 60 students from 5A. But our enrollment is growing, and I don't think we'll ever be in 7A either. But okay. I think we'll be that 6A every year, and I think that's a good fit for us.
Okay. A curiosity question, and I like to ask these coaches. And the last question, it's probably a good question to ask at this time. Do you think your players are peaking at the right time? Because believe me, every coach wants them to peak come playoff time.
Well, I don't know what the right time is. I mean, seriously, we're in week 9, and if you ask me when I want to peak, I'm gonna say week 15.
Okay.
And you get into playoffs, and which our team is. You get into playoffs. It's a 5-day season. You're 5 days. Whichever team prepares the best in the 4 and then plays the hardest that Friday night is usually going to win. So I think I'd rather our team peak on week 15.
Well, that's a pretty good way to look at it, because then that means you're right where you all wanted to be to start with.
Absolutely.
Coach, always good to see you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Good luck to you and your team as you're nearing the playoffs, because they seem to be playing awfully well, but not as good as you want them on week 15.
That's it. Yes,
okay. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. 4 gentlemen have been very instrumental in the season that the Pelham Panthers had thus far. We'll be right back.
You know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
The community features a world-class resort and spa. The amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course. Miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective. And folks, welcome back. And as you can tell, I got 4 outstanding young athletes sitting here with me. They're all seniors. Closest to me, Will Pierce, senior, center, right. And then Nicholas Blackburn, senior, running back. And then Ladre, how do you pronounce your last name? Tab, okay, just like it says, senior cornerback. And then finally, Tyler Hawkins, senior safety. All right, guys, going into this year, and we'll start with you, Will. Going into this season, what were your goals for this year for you and for your team?
Well, for me was to get better and to get a chance to play at the next level. And for the team, obviously state championship's the #1 goal, but Coach has been about expectations and standards have been changed. So, I mean, they have been. It's a change around there. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, Nicholas, you're a senior, and like I said, all you guys are, so you're experienced players. being a senior, that means a lot of the times, Coach and I talked about it a little bit. The thing is, chemistry on a team is very important. If the chemistry is good, you can be as good as you can be and as good as you can be as a team. So, Nicholas, with that thought in mind, talk about the chemistry of your team and how it's come together this year for you.
Well, I mean, there's like not individuals, we're like a team this year a lot. And at the beginning of the year, the seniors got mentors, and everybody had a mentor for like a younger person. So I think that really helped us as a team. Like, I stayed on like a younger person named Dylan Peterson, like as a running back, and he's been doing great this year. And I think everybody's just been doing that as a team.
Well, and that's what team play is all about. Ladre, being a cornerback, what excites you the most? Making a big hit or intercepting a pass and being able to run it in for a touchdown?
That's probably tough. I'll probably say a big hit.
Really?
Yes, sir.
So you want to get that mindset that somebody don't want to come in your area because you're going to be waiting on them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tyler, how about you as a safety? When you look at your schedule, which game sticks out to you the most that's the team I want to beat more than anybody?
You mean coming up?
Huh?
You mean coming up?
Yeah, or when you see the schedule this year, which team did you think that's the one I want to beat the most?
Honestly, that has to be this Opelika game that's coming up because.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so they've got a pretty good football team, right? And so I guess you feel like if you want to beat the best, you got to be the best. You got to beat some of them, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, us athletes, we're a strange lot. We're a superstitious bunch. I mean, I was an athlete, and I know I had my superstitions, whether they were good, bad, or ugly. You still had them. And we'll start with you. Are there any kind of superstitions you have, or anything you feel like you have to do a certain way in order for things to work out well for you?
Not really. I just listen to music before the game.
Oh, okay. Well, superstitions are strange things too, because I tell people I talk to young athletes about it, regardless of what they are. The bottom line is that superstition is not going to make you better or not. It's going to how you play, but you still feel like that it might. Nicholas, how about you? You got any superstitions?
Not really. I usually eat a little piece of candy or something for the game, but other than that, I ain't got nothing.
Okay. Well, you try to stay pretty even keel, preparing for each of the games. And Ladre, how about you?
I wear this my white pair of gloves. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of superstitious. I kind of feel better about I get kind of nervous sometimes in the games, but it's like when I wear them white gloves, I don't feel like nervous at all.
Well, hey, that advantage you, right? That mental edge. Tyler, how about you?
That's what he means. I really just listen to music, just like Will.
Yeah. Well, you sort of want to get that mindset ready for the job at hand, right? Well, guys, one question I always enjoy asking athletes, and y'all, I've got different positions here. This should be interesting. Will, what collegiate player or pro player do you like to pat in your game after and say, gosh, that's how I'd like to play?
Ryan Kelly played at Alabama.
Really?
He's a center. He's real good. He's with the Colts now.
Right.
And, I mean, he was best in college. I mean, he started as a rookie for the Colts. So.
Well, let me tell you something. A lot of people take a position like yours for granted. It's one of the most important positions on the football field, as every one of your positions are. But I guarantee you it all starts with you and that quarterback and the relationship y'all have. Nicholas, how about you?
Well, I love Alabama football, so just about all the Alabama running backs. But I say probably Le'Veon Bell for the Steelers.
Yeah, good versatile back. Can you catch the ball out of the backfield okay? Well, I knew I shouldn't ask that question. You did not miss that handoff, though, did you? Okay. Ladre, you almost gave it away. It sounded like that boy's got problems. You got to throw it to him. So being a cornerback, is there any pro or college cornerback you'd like to play like?
I have a favorite college player, Nick Fitzpatrick for Alabama.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, you play about that much like that guy, you're going to be a starter somewhere in college one day. That's great. Tyler, how about you?
Well, he doesn't play right now, but Bob Sanders, he used to be a strong safety for the Colts. He was kind of short like me. So, but we have to be very explosive to make up for our height.
Yeah, well, you know, like you said, every athlete has what he calls his positive and negatives. And you'd like to be a little bit taller to make up for it. You want to be able to hit somebody where they don't forget it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, all you guys are seniors, and we'll start with you, Will. Next year, do you have a scholarship anywhere? Do you know where you're going to go to college?
I don't know yet. The only thing I have right now is Birmingham Southern.
Okay.
The only one I have, but I have no idea where I'm going.
All right, let me ask you this. When you get to school, what kind of courses are you going to be taking, or what occupation would you like to pursue one day?
I wouldn't mind being a coach.
You know, I ask players that a lot, and I'll tell you something else. A lot of times I ask coaches that have been very successful coaches through the years, they didn't start out being coaches, and they ended up doing that. And then you got other guys that, hey, that's what I'd love to do one day, and it works out for them. So good luck. I hope that happens for you. Nicholas, how about you? Do you know where you're going to be going to school?
Oh, I'm not really sure yet. I want to play football at the next level, but if that doesn't happen, then I'll apply to some colleges and see.
Yeah. All right. Let's say that you don't. If football's not at the next level for you, what do you think you might like to do one day?
I'll probably say I'd probably want to go to JSU or like Troy for school, and then maybe like accounting, or like I'm also like want to be a coach too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, that can happen down the road sometimes. It might not happen right off, but opportunities come along sometimes. Ladre, how about you? What do you want to do?
I'm not sure where I'm going to go yet, but wherever I go, I'm going to major in communications, like broadcast journalism.
Oh, okay. All right. You ever, coaching ever entered your mind, or you just pretty much focused on something else right now?
I can probably maybe like after playing football, but like I can only see myself as like a player right now.
Oh, okay. Tyler, how about you?
I'm undecided on the college yet, but I do want to major in marketing and minor in sports marketing.
Oh, okay. Somehow stay involved in sports then, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, one thing that I've asked the coach, and I've got his opinion. I wonder how you feel about it. Will, do you think you and your teammates have played your best football yet?
No, we haven't played our best football yet. We played pretty good 2 weeks ago, but we still haven't played our best yet, but we're getting there.
Okay, now Nicholas, one question I like to ask you athletes too. Some athletes like playing at home better. Some others like playing on the road. They don't feel like there's as much pressure that way. Does it bother you one way or the other? Do you have a preference?
It doesn't matter to me. I just know me and my teammates are going to do our jobs wherever it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
Okay, all right. Ladre, how about you? Does which would you rather do? Play at home or go on the road and quieten a hostile crowd because you guys are playing so good?
I'd just rather play. Like it don't matter where we at, where we playing.
Yeah. The reason I ask that, I've had a lot of athletes that tell me I'd rather play at home or I'd probably rather play on the road. And when they say on the road, most of the time they feel like there's less pressure. For whatever reason, they feel like at home there's more pressure to win because you're in front of the home folks and everything. Tyler, how about you? How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel more confident playing at home because that's where all my family they come to like every game. But on the road, it's still the same. Like,
okay. Well, Will, what have you enjoyed about your high school career the most, and what football experience, and what do you dislike about it?
I mean, dislike probably. I mean, before this year, we weren't winning a lot of games, and that's no fun. But I mean, it's still football, so I love it. And I like this year, the locker room, the brotherhood that we got on the team. It's pretty great.
Okay. How about you, Nicholas?
I have to agree with Will. It's just a lot of things changed. Like he said earlier, the expectations changed this year.
Right.
So I like that. And then last year, we were just losing a lot of games. So it's a big change.
Right. Okay. Ladre?
I just feel like we were like it's been mostly like the practice. Like last year, some people kind of took the practice for granted and stuff, and so we kind of played bad in the game. Like we kind of laughed practice off. But I see like this year, people starting to take it more seriously and stuff, and you can see it like going into the game.
Good. How about you, Tyler?
Starting in January, when we started off season, that's when everything started progressing like we wanted to, because that's when coach set the new expectations, and it's really been building up into this year.
Okay, guys, last question. I've enjoyed the visit with you. To this point in your life, Will, who's been the most inspirational persons?
Probably Coach Causey. I mean, when he came in, he said, "Look, I'm gonna give y'all everything I got." Like, he's done everything he can for us. When he came in before that, it just wasn't as personal as like interactions between that. But with him, he makes it like that.
Well, good. Nicholas?
Yeah, I'll probably say family, like my dad, Coach Causey, just family. Because when he came here, he made it a big point just about family. Like, everybody stay family. And them two people have been a big influence on me.
Good. How about you, Joy?
Probably my aunt, because she's been with me since like I've been starting playing football.
Right.
Like, just with me, like taking me to the doctor when I get hurt, just like mentoring me at home and stuff.
Okay, good for you, Tyler.
It'll have to be Coach Causey, because since he's been with me since my sophomore year, he's been on my tail belt.
Well, good. Well, listen, guys, it's been a pleasure meeting. You've had a good season thus far, but it ain't over. Now it's time to get down to get that dirty work done, okay?
Yes, sir.
And so I wish you good luck and get in the playoffs and do some damage, all right?
All right, yes, sir.
Folks,
For sure.
we've had a great show. Outstanding coach, outstanding players. Same time, same place. Next week, we'll do it again. To then, you know what the snapper always says, bye.